Muy buenas noches con cada uno de ustedes, estimados participantes. Bienvenidos y bienvenidas a nuestro curso gratuito de Inglés Avanzado C1. El día de hoy corresponde a nuestra segunda sesión académica. Para todos aquellos que aún no conocen nuestra ubicación, nosotros estamos ubicados en Perú, en el departamento de Apurímac, en la provincia de Andahuaylas, estimados participantes. Así como pueden apreciar en el mapita, estamos ubicados al sur del país, lugar de donde nosotros impartimos nuestros cursos de capacitación de manera gratuita. Los convenios de cooperación que nuestra institución cuenta, tenemos el convenio respectivo con la Municipalidad de Turpo, también con la UGEL de Andahuaylas, asimismo con el Instituto de Formación Cooperativa y Ambiental, con los Andes Cotarusia y Maraes, con el MINJUSH de Purímac, con la Asociación de Servidores Civiles del Ejército Ministerio de Defensa, también con la Municipalidad del Centro Poblado Los Ángeles Huancaray y finalmente con el Instituto de Educación Superior Tecnológico Público de Chinchiros. Con estas 8 entidades, contamos con el convenio respectivo para fomentar su educación académica y profesional. Somos una institución con más de 7 años de experiencia orientada a ofrecer educación virtual gratuita y de alta calidad, no solamente a nivel nacional, sino también a nivel internacional. Para ello contamos con el equipo del Tecnológico, que está integrado por la plana administrativa, plana de docentes y asistentes académicos, estimados participantes. Los cursos que han dado inicio este lunes 18 y martes 19 de septiembre son los últimos, los cuales se van a impartir para este presente mes. La siguiente semanita ya se está publicando, durante estos días se está publicando los cursos disponibles para el mes de octubre. Por favor, no duden en seguir nuestra página de Facebook, por el cual usted se va a informar todos los cursos disponibles que tenemos para el mes de octubre, ¿sí? O caso contrario, puede consultar al celular que aparece en pantalla, que es el 953-772-123, y les puede ayudar a ustedes con el proceso de inscripción. Si usted mismo lo va a realizar de manera personal, recuerda que debe de unirse al finalizar la inscripción al grupo de WhatsApp. Si usted ya se encuentra dentro del grupo de WhatsApp, significa que ya está inscrito o inscrita. Para todos aquellos que aún no me conocen, me presento. Soy su asistente académica, Ana Veraste, y cualquier pregunta o consulta, no duden en escribirme de manera interna para poderlos ayudar. Mi celular es el 991-373-227 para sus dudas o consultas. La docente del curso es la profesora Jenny Vilca, responsable de poder impartir este curso de inglés avanzado C1. La frecuencia del curso son los días lunes, miércoles y viernes de 7 a 9 de la noche. La duración es de 2 semanitas. Hemos dado inicio el lunes 18 de septiembre. El temario respectivo el día de hoy corresponde, estimados participantes, a nuestra segunda sesión académica, el cual es Coordinating and Subordinating Conjunctions. El material respectivo ya ha sido compartido por su grupo de WhatsApp. El día viernes estaremos tocando la sesión número 3, que es Present Tense Review. Sesión 4, que corresponde ya a la segunda semana académica, es Active Voice and Passive Voice. Sesión 5, Past Tense Review. Y la sesión 6, que es Question Tag. Muy buenas noches, estimada Berta, bienvenida. La metodología de trabajo para todos aquellos que son nuevos, todas las clases son en vivo mediante la plataforma de Google Meet. De igual manera, las clases son grabadas. Las clases grabadas, los materiales respectivos a cada acción académica y también lo que es los enlaces de las clases en vivo, se les comparte a ustedes por su grupito de WhatsApp, estimados participantes. El examen final es el último día de clases. Las indicaciones también se les comparte por el grupo de WhatsApp. Así que quiere decir que toda información lo vas a encontrar dentro de tu grupito de WhatsApp si en caso usted no asiste a alguna sesión académica en vivo por alguna emergencia o urgencia que se les pueda presentar. ¿Sí? Muy bien. Respecto a la certificación, al finalizar el curso tendrás un certificado con mención en inglés avanzado C1 a nombre de la institución del Tecnológico. La certificación sale con 90 horas académicas. Para ello es muy importante que usted obtenga una calificación final, quiere decir la nota de su examen con una nota mayor o igual a 14. Aprobar el examen con esta calificación mayor o igual a 14 acredita el participante que está apto o apta para su trámite respectivo de su certificado. ¿Qué pasa si mi examen yo desapruebo con una nota inferior a 14? Pues lastimosamente no va a poder tramitar usted su certificado, estimado participante. El costo del certificado es de 30 soles, un costo simbólico al alcance de todos. De igual manera, para todos los que se encuentran en el extranjero es de $10. Recuerda que un certificado avala su conocimiento y puede ser adjunto en su CV para poder aplicar algún puesto de trabajo, ya sea en alguna entidad pública o privada, ¿sí? Todos nuestros certificados cuentan con el código QR para su respectiva validación. En cuanto a las modalidades de envío, tenemos dos tipos de modalidades. La primera es de manera digital, el cual aplica tanto a nivel nacional e internacional, y la segunda es de manera física, el cual solamente aplica a nivel nacional. El costo de envío con Shalo es de 15 soles más y con Olva de 35 soles más, estimados participantes. El último día de clase se van a sortear certificados. Quiere decir que uno o dos de ustedes se puede certificar en este curso de manera gratuita, previo cumplimiento de algunos requisitos que se les va a solicitar el último día de clase. Se pueda participar en este gran sorteo, ¿sí? Así que los esperamos a todos que culminen el curso satisfactoriamente. Muy bien, vamos a realizar ya una pequeña oración para poder dar inicio a esta sesión número 2 programada para el día de hoy. Vamos a agradecer a Dios por un día más de vida, por permitirnos conectar estas horas de la noche, estimados participantes. Pedir a Dios por cada uno de nosotros para que nos pueda guiar en todo momento y también nos pueda iluminar y bendecir. Pedir por la docente para que le colme de mucha paciencia, la ilumine y le dé mucha inteligencia y sabiduría. En esta noche Dios nos quiere decir mediante Salmos capítulo 4, versículo 8, en paz me acostaré y asimismo dormiré, porque solo tú, Jehová, me haces vivir confiada. Todo lo que hagamos el día de hoy, mañana y siempre sea en nombre de nuestro Padre Celestial. Amén. Amén con cada uno de ustedes, estimados participantes. Ahora sí, adelante, por favor, estimada docente. Usted ya tiene el permiso para que pueda compartir pantalla y activar audio.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Miss Ana Patricia. So I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen? Yes? Okay. So welcome, everyone. We are going to start today our second session that is called Coordinating and Subordinating Conjunctions. Before we start our class, we are going to set our classroom rules. Be on time. Raise your hand if you want to participate, and also keep your microphone off unless you are told so, right? Let's start with this little welcome sign. Welcome everyone who understands that learning knows no boundaries. Despite the physical distance, we are united but by our passion for learning. Thank you so much for that. Welcome everyone who is ready to embrace the challenges and opportunities that online learning offers. Welcome everyone who believes in the power of education to transform lives. Once again, welcome everyone who has chosen to be a part of our online class. Let's make this a memorable and enriching experience for all. Welcome everyone, welcome everyone. So, without further ado, we are going to start our session. ¿Sí? Bienvenidos todos a esta nueva sesión. Buenas noches a todos. Vamos a empezar. Last class, in our previous session, we were working about connectors, right? So we are gonna review. Who can write on the chat what was the previous topic in our last session? What was the topic about? Good evening, Leslie. What was our topic? ¿Cuál fue nuestro tema de la clase anterior? Fanboys. Very good, Arturo. Thank you very much, Dayita. Fanboys. Okay, fanboys, it's an acronym, right? It's an acronym because each letter means something, means connectors. Very good. Diana, very good, connectors. So today we are going to review that topic and we are going to learn something else. Very good. Coordinating and subordinating connectors or conjunctions. They are words that are used to link, to join different parts of a sentence or multiple sentences. They help to establish relationships between ideas and coherence to writing and create a smooth flow of information. When we use connectors, when we use conjunction, what we do is try to make our writing or our speaking more vivid, more creative, ¿no? Cuando usamos estas conjunciones, cuando usamos estos conectores, lo que buscamos es unir nuestras ideas en una oración un poco más elaborada, más compleja, ¿no? Para poder establecer que esa relación que queremos mostrar entre nuestras ideas y que se muestre en coherencia en lo que estamos escribiendo o lo que estamos diciendo, ¿verdad? Para que se cree un buen flujo de información, ¿no? Y no usar simple sentences. Está bien que usemos simple sentences once in a while, but it's okay or it's better if you use complex sentences, ¿no? Es mejor si usamos complex sentences, especially because we are in advanced English. So at this point, you are supposed to be communicating in a higher level, ¿no? En este punto en el que estamos en un inglés avanzado, se supone que debemos manejar complex sentences, ¿no? Oraciones más complejas, más elaboradas. Entonces aquí vemos un picture donde están certain conjunctions that we can use in our daily conversation, ¿no? Recordando un poco lo de nuestra clase anterior, los fanboys, ¿no? Yo le decía, ¿no? Each letter means something, ¿no? Before, in, nor, but, yet, or so. Raise your hand if you do what I did. Practice the fanboys. Levanta tu manito ahí si es que has practicado los fanboys, como les dije, ¿no? En el ejemplo le dije un día la F, al otro día la A, al otro día la N, ¿sí? If we want to improve in our English, thank you, Fabiola, for answering, for raising your hand. I know that you are practicing English on your own. Diana also. If we want to learn, Karen also, right? So if you want to learn English, and if you want to improve or see some improvement in your conversation and your writing and your daily communication, what you need to do is practice. There is no other way, ¿sí? No hay otra forma, tenemos que practicar siempre. Okay, ahí tenemos ese pequeño picture de los fanboys, and below that we have some examples that we can use to incorporate in our speaking, ¿no? For example, before, Sam drank some water for he was thirsty. Right? If you are thirsty, you drink some water, you drink some soda, or any juice. And it's, I take milk and sugar in my tea, right? It's to connecting two ideas. Nor she doesn't like apples, nor does she like pears. We talk about nor when we showed some contrast, right? So this is the topic that we learned yesterday, today, or on Monday, last Monday, we are going to move on to our today's topic, ¿sí? Este es el tema que vimos el día lunes. Keep practicing, sigamos practicando y vamos a incorporar uno nuevo, ¿no? Subordinating connectors, ¿no? Conectores subordinados o subordinantes. A subordinating conjunction is a word, it's a phrase that links a dependent clause to an independent clause. This word or phrase indicates that a clause has informative value to add to the sentence's main idea, signaling a cause and effect relationship or a shift, un cambio, in time and place between the two clauses. Some common subordinating connectors include because, although, if, when, while, since, unless, until, whereas, and since, among others. The list is endless. La lista es interminable. At the end of this presentation, you have a summary of different subordinating connectors you can include in your speaking, in your writing, in your communication. ¿Sí? Al final de esta presentación les he puesto un resumen de the most important connectors that we can start practicing, ¿no? Debemos empezar a practicar. Entonces yo les comentaba, ¿no? Que una conjunción subordinante es una palabra también es una frase que nos va a permitir unir una cláusula dependiente con una cláusula independiente. Entonces se van a fusionar las dos para poder hacer un complex sentence, ¿no? Una cláusula independiente es aquella que tiene un subject, un verb, and expresses a whole idea, y expresa una idea independiente. A dependent clause, como su nombre lo dice, va a depender, no va a expresar a complete thought, no va a expresar un pensamiento completo. Va a estar siempre esperando de una cláusula independiente para que le ayude a tener sentido, ¿no? Entonces, algunos de los subordinantes que podemos encontrar en inglés es el por qué, el aunque, el sí, el cuándo, mientras, desde, a menos que, hasta, mientras que y desde, entre otros, como les comentaba, ¿no? Que la lista es grande y que poco a poco debemos ir incorporando. This is like verbs, ¿no? Esto es como los verbos. There is an endless list of verbs that we need to use each verb according to our context, according to our needs, ¿no? De acuerdo a nuestras necesidades, de acuerdo a nuestro contexto, vamos incorporating more verbs, ¿no? Incorporamos más verbos, más expresiones, and so on. Entonces, aquí les muestro, así como vimos fanboys, te voy a mostrar ahora a white bus. ¿Sí? Entonces, estas letritas identifican cada una de las conjunctions. Por ejemplo, si vamos con la letra A, tenemos a although, as, but there are more, pero hay muchas más. He puesto some of them, ¿no? For the W tenemos a wherever, whenever, when, whereas, in which. In the letter I have if, in case, in order that, ¿no? For T, I have though, till, that. In the letter E, I have even though, even if. Be, before, or because. Under U, we have until and unless. Under S, we have since. So try to at least study these common conjunctions. Call a white bus, ¿no? Al menos tratemos de poco a poco ir practicando estas que están en este acronym, ¿no? A white bus. Empecemos con algunos ejemplos. Because it was raining, I decided to stay indoors. Te muestro lo que te decía previamente. Necesitamos, para usar estas conjunctions, tener un dependent y un independent clause. Quedamos de que un independent clause, ¿qué tenía? A ver, vamos a escribir en el chat. ¿Qué es un independent clause? ¿A qué consideramos nosotros un independent clause? Si lo vemos aquí en mi ejemplo. I decided to stay indoors. Un independent clause, ¿tiene una idea completa o le falta algo? It's a complete thought or not. ¿Qué decimos? A ver, una cláusula independiente. ¿Es una idea completa? Ajá, very good, Angie. Subject, verb, complement. Ajá, es a complete idea, a complete thought. Excellent, Karen. ¿Sí ves? Es una idea completa, eso es independiente, ¿no? Y dependent, what is a dependent clause? Por ejemplo, si tú lees because it was raining, does it make any sense? ¿Te causa algún sentido? Cuando tú dices because it was raining. No, right? No, ¿verdad? No, exacto. It needs a principal idea to have sense. Exacto, Karen. Necesita la idea principal para que tenga sentido. Entonces, ahí se fusionan y algo que tú normalmente lo dirías como un simple sentences, cuando tú tienes estas dos clauses, estas dos cláusulas, don't make sense. Entonces, cuando tú tienes estas dos clauses and you put them together, you make complex sentences, ¿no? Haces oraciones ya complejas y sales de lo rutinario, de normalmente hacer un simple sentence, ¿sí? Entonces, incorporemos, mire este. Because it was raining, I decided to stay indoors. Algo también que es muy importante, ¿no? Aquí, dice, because it was raining. Les pregunto, ¿es posible que ese because it was raining, que está allí at the beginning, pueda cambiar de posición en la oración? ¿Yes o no? Ese because it was raining, ¿lo puedo cambiar o necesariamente tiene que ir at the beginning? Very good, Angel. ¿Solamente puedo poner este because al inicio o lo puedo cambiar y decir esto? A ver, vamos a ver cómo quedaría si yo digo I decided to stay indoors because it was raining. ¿Es posible eso? Yes. Exactly. You can change the order of the sentence. But what's the difference? Mira, si te das cuenta, cuando you said because at the beginning of the sentence, something appears, algo apareció antes de poner mi cláusula independent. ¿Qué le puse? ¿Qué he usado? A ver. I'm sorry. Let's put it. ¿Qué puse ahí? Comma. Very good. I have put a comma. But when I put it at the end, did I use a comma? Pero cuando lo puse al final, ¿usé una coma? No, exactly. Nope. I didn't use a comma. So that means, vamos inferring the rules, ¿no? Si yo pongo because at the beginning, a comma is needed. Necesitas una coma. But when you put because in the middle of the two clauses, you don't need a comma. No comma is needed, right? So keep that in mind. Mantengamos eso en mente y tomémoslo en cuenta. Okay, let's move to our next example. Although she studied hard, she didn't perform well on the test. Ahí también vemos two clauses, independent and dependent. Very good. She didn't perform well on the test, and dependent clause, although she studied hard. What's the meaning of although? What do you understand by, or when you say although, what are you saying? ¿Qué estamos diciendo cuando usamos este subordinating conjunction? A pesar de, aunque, exactly. Aunque o a pesar de que ella estudió hard, bastante, mucho, she didn't perform well on the test, right? She didn't do well on the test, right? She failed also. Very good. Sin embargo, when the subordinate conjunction starts and say, yeah, we need to use a comma, right, Angel? Okay, let's move on to our next example. After he finished his work, he went for a walk in the park. The same thing. We also can change the position of the conjunction, right? También podemos cambiar la posición de la conjunción. ¿Cómo quedaría? A ver, si acá dice after he finished his work, what will be other way to make this sentence? ¿Cuál sería la otra forma de hacer esta oración? Can you write it down in the chat, please? I said, after he finished his work, he went for a walk in the park. A ver cómo la podemos poner de otra forma. Change the order. How? Can you write down the sentence? ¿Puedes escribir la oración? He went for a walk in the park. Perfect. Do you need a comma? No, right? Excellent. You can use a comma when you put the conjunction in the middle of the sentence or in the middle of the two clauses. Don't need it. You don't need it. No comma. Perfect. In each of these examples, the dependent clause cannot stand alone as a complete sentence and relies or depends on the independent clause to convey what? A full and meaningful idea. That's what you said when I asked you, can they be alone? They cannot be alone. They need an independent clause. The subordinating connectors because, although, and after establish that relationship between the two clauses, indicating the reason, contrast, or the time sequence between these two clauses. right? Entonces, cada uno de los ejemplos que mostré nos muestra que una cláusula dependiente nunca puede estar sola. ¿Por qué? Porque no estás diciendo nada, no estás dando un sentido a lo que quieres expresar. Por lo tanto, necesitarán siempre de una cláusula independiente para completar su idea. Y estas ideas pueden ser para mostrar una razón, para mostrar un contraste, para mostrar una secuencia de tiempo y conectarse entre ellas, ¿sí? Entonces, sound complicated? Si está un poco difícil, let's break it down. Vamos a ver, explicarlo step by step so that you can do it, or so that you can use these words in a proper way. See? So a dependent clause, also known as a subordinate clause, is a clause with two specific qualities. Una cláusula dependiente tiene estas dos cualidades. Firstly, it does not express a complete unit, a complete thought on its own. It cannot stand as its own sentence. Secondly, it depends upon an independent clause, one that can stand on its own as a complete sentence to form a complete idea. I think that's pretty much clear, right? Creo que ya en este punto ya tenemos un poco, o ya tenemos claro lo que es las subordinating conjunctions, ¿no? Las subordinating conjunctions se van a usar cuando yo tengo una oración simple y la quiero poner en un complex sentence, una oración un poco más compleja, more elaborated, more structured, o better structured, mejor estructurada, ¿sí? Entonces, hacemos eso. Tenemos una cláusula independiente y dependiente y la unimos con un subordinating conjunction. Uh-huh. Yeah. If independent and dependent clause could be likened to Batman and Robin, the dependent or subordinate clause will be Robin, Batman's assistant. The independent main clause will be Batman, his superhero boss. Entonces, ¿qué dice? Si hacemos estas comparaciones, ¿no? Y la cláusula independiente y dependiente pudieran compararse con Batman y Robin, la cláusula dependiente sería, ¿quién? Robin, ¿no? El asistente de Batman. Y la cláusula independiente sería Batman, el superhéroe, ¿no? Jefe. Entonces es el líder. El independent clause siempre va a ser el líder y el otro va a ser el subordinate, ¿no? El subordinate is because it's below, está debajo de la otra cláusula, the other clause. Ya. Vamos a mostrar aquí the first one, subordinating conjunctions showing cause and effect. Tratemos la primera que dice causa y efecto, cause and effect. The subordinating conjunction that is simplest to explain is because. It's a conjunction with just one purpose, to show a cause and effect relationship between a subordinate clause and a main clause. On its own, a clause beginning with because is incomplete. Lo que vimos al inicio en el ejemplo, lo que yo les dije. Si pones solo because y una expresión, eso no está completo, ¿no? Está incompleto. For example, because he wouldn't wear a seatbelt. Does it have any sense? Dice, porque él no usó cinturón de seguridad. Incomplete. Uh-huh. We have the sense, no, that there is something missing here. Let's add an independent clause so this statement has something to lean on. No? Example, Robin wasn't allowed in the Batmobile any longer. Okay, Melissa, do you need something? Oh, yeah, Melissa. Estás con Ulderico y eres Melissa, right? Ya, entonces quedamos de que si yo uso because solito con unas cuantas palabras, está incompleta mi oración. Tenemos que agregarle algo, ¿no? En algo tiene que recaer, porque tú al leer because es porque yo siento que algo falta. Something is missing. Entonces ahora vamos a combinar estas dos oraciones. Mire. Robin wasn't allowed in the Batmobile any longer because he wouldn't wear a seatbelt. What is the meaning of seatbelt? What do you understand for seatbelt? What is this? What is the meaning of this word? Yeah, strap. Yeah, cinturón de seguridad. Very good. Excellent. And this word? Excellent. Permitido. So, in negative, wasn't allowed. No estaba permitido, right? And here you are explaining. Acá tenemos una causa y un efecto. ¿Sí? Robin wasn't allowed in the Batmobile any longer because he wouldn't wear a seatbelt. Entonces aquí tenemos un independent clause y un dependent clause. Causal relationship is often referred to as a clause of purpose. Entonces ahí estamos viendo el uso del because. Sucede algo, and this is the effect. Other subordinating conjunctions that can show cause and effect relationships and function in the same way are for, as, since, though, due to, provided that, because of, unless, so that. Another example right here. Aquí estamos viendo los examples de los diferentes conjunctions que tenemos de la lista cuando queremos hablar de causa y efecto. And here we have another example. Since Robin refused to wear his seatbelt, Batman has banned him from the Batmobile. What is the meaning of refuse? What do you understand for refuse? Rehúsa. Very good. Refuse. What do you understand for ban? Rechaza also, refuse. Expulsado. Very good. Ban. Okay, so now I want you to write some sentences in the chat box using one of these conjunctions that you have in the chart. In the chart, you have a lot of different cause and effect relationships or conjunctions. Can you make at least 2 sentences or 3 sentences using any of them? ¿Sí? Al menos tratemos de escribir 2 oraciones con alguno de ellos. And I'm going to read your sentences. ¿Sí? Leeré sus oraciones. Can you start, please, writing? ¿Cuál, Angie? All of them? Oh, yeah. En esta parte, Angie, estaba diciéndole que era el acrónimo, como aprendimos la clase anterior, fanboys. Hoy les traje este que se llama a white bus. Y under each letter, I've considered a few conjunctions. Y debajo de cada letra he considerado algunas conjunciones, subordinating conjunctions. Y como les decía, la lista es larga y al final de esta diapositiva he puesto un listado que poco a poco pueden ir repasando. ¿Sí? Angie? Thanks. Okay, you're welcome. Ajá, entonces este es uno a uno, poco a poco las vamos a ir viendo, cómo usarlas, todo eso, ¿sí? Ya, nos quedamos aquí en este listado. Mira, acá han aparecido algunas, mira, Angie. As, acá está el since, acá está el do. Algunas de las que hemos visto en a white bus están por aquí, ¿ves? Por ejemplo, está el since, está el as, el because. ¿Sí? Y debajo de la S también podemos poner el so y el so that. Ajá. I live here since I was born. Very good, Ibeth. I work on this company since 2016. Charles refused to go to the supermarket because he had a headache. Very good. I live since 1998 in Peru. Very good, Stephanie. I'm working like a teacher since I was 20 years old. Okay, Milangela, I have been living in Lima since 2018. Only living. Sí, cambia el verbo, lo pongo en continuous, ing. I refuse to work on weekends, Patricia, maybe? Okay, unless I eat lunch first, I will go to the cinema. Fabiola, Marta is ill because of the cold weather. Remember, always the adjective first. First the adjective, cold weather. And check the spelling of weather without the H at the beginning. Revisa la escritura de weather, quítale la H después del W.
Something.
Since we are advanced students, we shouldn't use Spanish. Yeah, that's okay. I agree with you, Marina. And the doctor was angry at me because I arrived late at the appointment. Try to correct it, Beth. Point. MT is missing. Appointment. Yes, of course, you can participate, Yvette. You got sick because you don't like eating vegetables. Good. I refuse to work on weekends because I need to stay with my family. But cold weather, Fabiola, yes, of course. That's it. Because it was sunny, I used to hot. Very good. I decided to study English since 1970. I studied English since 1990. Good. Okay, let's move on with our next slide. Subordinating conjunctions. They signal relationship of time or place. Another function of subordinating conjunctions is to show a relationship between two clauses involving a transition of time or place. Some examples of such subordinating conjunctions are once, while, when, whenever, where, wherever, before, and after. ¿Sí? Algunos ejemplos de este tipo de conjunciones subordinadas son el once, que es una vez, while, que es mientras, cuando sea, donde quiera, antes y después. Nos muestran ese transition, ¿no? Esa transición de time or place. For example, once Batman learned that Robin had not been wearing his seatbelt, he took away his keys to the Batmobile. So then you have the translation. Una vez que Batman se enteró de que Robin no había estado usando su cinturón de seguridad, él le quitó las llaves, ¿no? Del Batimóvil. So this is a change, no? In time and also place. Robin looked regretfully at the Batmobile whenever he passed it in the Batcave. Robin miraba con pesar el Batimóvil cada vez que pasaba por su lado en la Baticueva. Look regretfully. Look at this. This is a good word. Try to incorporate that in your speaking and also writing. No? Instead of saying look sad, look, what you can say? Look regretfully. After Batman was done working for the night, Robin took a secret ride in the Batmobile. Another transition in time, right? And as we were saying, also you can change the order of the conjunction. It can be at the beginning, it can be in the middle of the sentence, and the intention is going to be the same. Before Robin gets his job in the Batcave back, he must promise to stop playing with the Batmobile. These are just examples of the conjunctions I showed you. Comma placement and subordinating conjunctions. Subordinating conjunctions that fall in the middle of a sentence are generally not preceded by a comma. This is the opposite of what is done with coordinating conjunctions, or words that join two independent clauses, like the fanboys, right? When a subordinate clause begins a sentence, however, the whole clause, but not the subordinate conjunction itself, is followed by a comma. Yes. Tengamos en cuenta eso. Si es una subordinating conjunction and it goes at the beginning of the sentence, you are supposed to write a comma before adding the independent clause. But that's not the case when you are using fanboys. When you are using fanboys, no comma is needed because they are not working as a clause. They are used as connectors, which is a different grammar that we need to use right here. ¿Ok? Entonces nos dice que vamos a usar la coma si se tratan de conjunciones subordinadas, pero no se aplica en el caso de los fanboys. ¿Ya? Así que careful about that. Las conjunciones subordinantes que se encuentran en el medio. So you have this translation on your PPTs, esto en su PDF. Ustedes tienen esta translation en su PDF so that you can read it, you can understand it, you can study thoroughly about this after the class, you can check the video, you can do anything you need to in order to learn these conjunctions, ¿sí? Tenemos todo el material para poderlo repasar over and over, ¿sí? Because, as I said, practice makes perfect master, right? So look at this. Whenever all that you have here in color red, that means that it's incorrect. Whenever, comma, Batman was away, comma, Robin drove the Batmobile. You're going to use comma after the conjunction itself. You need a comma before you write down the independent clause. Like this. Whenever Batman was away, comma. Right here, comma, or let's put with an arrow. Robin drove the Batmobile. This is correct, right? The other example that you can see here is also in red. Robin drove the Batmobile, comma, whenever Batman was away. We said at the beginning that when you use the conjunction, the subordinating conjunction in the middle of the sentence, you are not supposed to use a comma. So right here, they are showing you that this is not possible. You are not allowed to use this comma right here because grammatically it's incorrect. Where can you notice this? You notice this in your writings If you write like this, putting comma before the subordinating conjunction, it's not going to be okay. When you do the speaking, of course, nobody's going to notice unless you make a stop before the other sentence. But in your writing, it's noticeable. So be careful about that. What you need to do is what you have below. What you have in green is like this. Robin drove the Batmobile whenever Batman was away. As you can see, no comma is needed because the subordinating conjunction is in the middle. I think that's clear enough, right? Creo que ya hasta ahí hemos comprendido when comma is used and when comma is needed or when it's not, right? Okay, here, a handy list of subordinating conjunctions. Tenemos una lista, a list, como dice, una lista de ayuda para repasar, ¿no? Empezando con after, con although, as if, as long as soon as. Tenemos aquí el as though, because, before, by the time. And also I've included the translation so that you can start practicing column by column every day, right? So you start with column 1, column 2, column 3, and column 4 until you master them. Remember that you are not going to be able to learn a word by heart unless you practice that word and use it in a sentence. When you do that, when you are able to do that, you can say, I know the word, I know the expression, I know the tense. ¿Sí? Hasta que no seas capaz de usar esto realmente de corazón, es porque aún no lo he aprendido. So you need more practice. And don't get discouraged because at the beginning it's not that easy, but with time, you will accomplish that, right? Okay, even if, even though, if, in case, in order that, in the event that, lest, now that, once, only if, provided that, since, so, supposing, than, to make comparative, that, though, till, unless. Okay, I will do that, Johanny. Como les explicaba, chicos, estas expresiones, estas subordinating conjunctions, necesitamos practicarlas every day, siempre. And I will try to use more English than Spanish because this is advanced C1 and I want you to get used to the pronunciation, get used to the expressions, and make an effort to understand what I'm saying. And once in a while, I will try to say it in Spanish so that you can follow me through, ¿sí? Tratemos de, como estamos en inglés avanzado, poner de nuestra parte, motivarnos, ¿no? A comprender lo que les digo en inglés para que así también poco a poco nosotros nos vayamos familiarizando con este sonido, ¿sí? Thank you so much. So, until, exactly. Pues puede ser a subordinating conjunction and a coordinating conjunction. Depends on the context and depends how you use it. It's like everything in English. If you have a verb, you know that the verb can also function as a noun, as an adverb, ¿sí? Así como los verbos que pueden tener diferentes funciones, pueden ser sustantivos, pueden ser adverbios también, ¿sí? Very good. Until, when, whenever, where, whereas, wherever, whether or not, while, as much as. Entonces, as the previous advice that I've given you in the first session, that you need to practice each fan voice during the week, the same thing like this, the subordinating conjunctions. You need to practice them constantly. Necesitamos practicarlas constantemente, ¿sí? para poderlas ir incorporando in our vocabulary. ¿Sí? Entonces, ahí tenemos una lista. Como les digo, tenemos el tiempo tan así cortito en la sesión que see each one independently is quite hard, ¿no? Dedicarnos a una por una independientemente en la sesión, it's going to be an endless session and we only have 2 hours. So I want you to practice them because, as you know, everything in English is connected. If you learn something, you need to keep practicing so that in the next session you do better, you use them, and you say, Miss, I remember this conjunction, I'm going to put it in my sentence, ¿no? Recuerda esta conjunción, la voy a poner en mi oración ahora. Focusing on another topic, you will see that the ones that you learned previously are going to help you to improve your writing and your participation in any class, okay? Entonces, let's do some practice. You have 5 different exercises. Tenemos 5 ejemplos. And I want you to read each sentence carefully. ¿Sí? Lee cada oración cuidadosamente and you have 4 options. You need to tell me which of them is correct. Please try to write in the chat number 1 and the letter, number 2 and your answer, number 3, number 4, and number 5, so that I can know exactly which answer you are referring to. Perfect, Arturo. Thank you very much. Good. Micaela, Fabiola, thanks for participating. Diego. And here. Okay, so let's work on number 1. Only number 1, please, so that we continue with the other ones. Yeah, okay. Very good. So, so the complete sentence will be, Maria studied hard, so she was able to pass the exam, right? Very good. Okay, so let's move to number 2. Number 2, what do you say? Number 2, good. Number 2, B. B, B. Number 2 is B. Number 2 is B, right? Although it was raining, they decided to go for a walk. Okay, now number 3. Good, Arturo. So, next. Number 3, D. Good. But he doesn't like coffee, but he prefers tea. Right. Good. Thank you very much for your answers. Number 4. Excellent. Unless, letter A, 4A. Unless I finish my work on time, I'll join you at the party. Good. What about number 5? Yes, I need number 4 is unless. Number 5? Very good. Excellent. Although, very good, Caleb. A. Although he was tired, he stayed up late to finish the project. Excellent. Very good. So here in number 1, you say, so. In number 2, most of you answer, although. Number 5, you say, but. Number 4, you say, letter A. And finally, you also say, letter A, although. Could be letter C. Let me see. Number 3, N. It doesn't. Yeah. In this case, it's a negative sentence and then a positive. Normally, when you have this type of questions, when one of them is negative and the other is positive, the only conjunction you can use is but. Normally, remember that and is used for two similar ideas, could be positive or both negative, but not when you have this. You're welcome. Okay, let's move to our next slide. Combine these sentences using because, so, although, and even though. You have 4 sentences. Can you combine them? Number 1 says, female models in clothing ads are very thin. Girls want to be very thin. Which conjunction can you use right here? Unless, a menos que. What would you say in that sentence? We have 2 options right here. Now you can say female models in clothing are ads are very thin because girls want to be very thin, or so depends on, right? Depends on the intention, depends on what are you trying to imply. Depende qué queremos decir también, ¿no? Por lo tanto, debido a esto, tienen the same intention. Can be so or because. What about number 2? Lottery ads show people winning a lot of money. Most people don't win any money. Good, Micaela. See, it's possible, Mario. Lottery ads show people winning a lot of money. However, most people don't win any money. It's another conjunction. That's good. It's a really good one. Energy drinks are advertised on sites popular with teens. Teens buy more of these drinks. What about number 3? Peter. What's the meaning of advertise? Advertise here. Publicity. Energy drinks are advertised on sites popular with teens. Teens buy more of these drinks. Commercial ad, very good, Maria. Advertise is like a campaign on television, radio, any media, so that you can become popular. Spots. So energy drinks are advertised on sites popular with things. What is the correct TBR also? What's the correct conjunction right there? So, so teens buy more of these drinks. What about number 4, the last one? A TV ad shows only boys playing with a popular toy. Although, although girls like the toy too. Mhm. Thank you very much for participating. Let's do some speaking time. We are going to use so, we are going to use because, although, and even though to explain your opinions or points of view about this debate or situation. Should energy drinks be consumed by teenagers? What's your opinion? What do you think about this? No. It's bad. Mhm. Is it good for your health? It's an overdose of sugar and caffeine, right? Because they advertise these beverages as, for example, provide with provide you with a temporary energy boost, ¿no? Que elevan tu energía, they make you feel more energetic, ¿no? Alert. So what do you think? Is it really good for your health? It causes a lot of danger in your nervous system. Yes, exactly. That's a lot of consequences, bad consequences about this, right? The drinks are not healthy. Mhm. For example, if you have a high consumption of sugar or caffeine, what's happening with your body? Or what happened with your body when you consume a lot of caffeine, a lot of sugar? In what ways? For example, you are writing down that this is not good for your health, but what will happen? Can you sleep normally if you consume these drinks? First of all, that these drinks are going to disrupt your sleeping or your sleep patterns. You are not going to be able to sleep correctly or in a normal way. Another thing that can be affecting your health is the heart rate. Your heart rate is going to be more accelerated because of the high levels of caffeine or the high level of sugars in your body. You can get diabetes. I do not consume any of these drinks. I prefer coffee, but also coffee can be a bit dangerous because of the amount of caffeine in there. So be careful about it. Although dangerous, many teenagers drink this kind. Yeah, they already know that it's kind of dangerous because it's not really healthy. You need to consume things that are really good for your body, not this kind of products, right? Abnormal sleep. It shouldn't be consumed for teenagers or by teenagers. That is that. I think for any people, right? Not only for teenagers, it's for adults, for kids as well. Mhm. Exactly. You better drink some natural juices, right? Sure. Good. So, in conclusion, what will you say? Is it really good or not? Remember that when we make a debate, you need to support your point of view and tell me. Maybe I can say, okay, if I have an exam, I can drink these energetic drinks so that I feel alert. I keep studying correctly. Is that gonna be okay? I don't think so because during the exam you are not gonna be able to show your full potential. It's not good, right? Mhm. Another problem also when you mention sugar or when you mention caffeine in this kind of beverage, it's because they are causing you dental problems also. No, Master, not Red Bull, no Bolt. Of course, I'm with you. Dental problems, gaining weight also. This is like a complex issue, right, for society, for people, because sometimes they don't want to spend time preparing some natural juices, and they rather go to the store, to the nearest store, and buy something that is already there, right? Like soda, like this energy drinks, things like that, right? They do not think about the future because maybe sometimes at the present is not causing you any damage, but in the future you're going to see the results, right? Yes, exactly, dental problems. So I think for anything it's we need to consider the pros and cons, right? So what's good and what's bad about a situation, and then we make the best decisions for our health and for our family, right? Ah, exactly. It causes sleep disorders. Very good. Like I said, disrupt sleep patterns. Good. Thank you so much for sharing. Continue. We are going to do a role play. For this role play, I need two participants. So raise your hand to participate in the speaking part. Okay? Cake baking disaster. So I need one to play Sam and one to play Alex. Or, yeah, okay. Anna is going to participate. Who wants to help Anna? Our beverage energetic advice some teenagers doesn't pay attention about the dose or abuses in the consumption. Very good. That's correct. Teenagers, adults, all the people, right? Drink energy is bad for body and health. However, people do not worry about it. Yeah. Carlene, you want to participate? Ok, señorita Ana, ¿puede abrir los micrófonos para que los participantes puedan realizar el speaking? Señorita Ana Patricia, ¿me puede escuchar? Let me see. ¿Sí me escuchan, chicos, right? Can you listen to me? I can find the option to activate your microphone so that you can participate. Señorita Ana Patricia. Let me check.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. Okay, continue. Let's continue. Okay, the two people I mentioned, Anna and Kathleen, can you please open your mics?
I am ready, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, let's start our role play. Ready, set, go. See, Anita, Anna?
I start. Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay. Hey, Alex, do you remember the time we tried to bake a cake?
Kathleen?
Oh, absolutely. It was a disaster because while we had all the ingredients, we forgot to preheat the oven.
And then, as soon as we put the cake in, the smoke alarm went off.
Right. It was so embarrassing because even though we opened all the window, the neighbor still thought we were trying to summon a fire freezing dragon.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then when we finally managed to take the cake out of the oven, it was as hard as a brick.
True. It was a rock solid that even though we tried to cut it with a chainsaw, it felt like we were excavating a fossil.
And to make matters worse, when we tasted, it was so dry that we needed a gallon of milk just to wash it down.
I know. It was like trying to swallow a mouthful of sawdust. But you know what, Sam?
What, Alex?
Even though our cake was a disaster, it was still the most fun I ever had in the kitchen.
Agreed, our cake may have been as though as a battleship, but the memories we made that day are as sweet as frosting.
Ah, exactly. And so, when are we attempting our next culinary adventure?
How about next weekend? But this time we'll follow a recipe instead of winging it.
Sound like a plan. Let's hope we don't accidentally summon any dragon this time.
Fingers crossed.
Excellent. Thank you so much for participating, Anna and Carmina, right?
Yeah, Carmina.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, girls, for participating. Anybody else who wants to participate and take part in this role play? Before I ask questions about this, I'm going to make questions to see if you have understood what you are reading. Any volunteers? Yeah, Carlene, open your mic. Participate.
Yeah, teacher, I'm ready.
Okay. Stephanie? Yes? Yeah. Mhm. Okay. Diana and Carlene. Now you are ready, Carlene? Open your
Yes, I
mic.
am ready.
Okay. Ready, set, go.
Hey, Alex, Do you remember the time we tried to bake a cake?
Oh, absolutely. It was a disaster because while we had all the ingredients, we forgot to preheat the oven.
And then, as soon as we put the cake in, the smoke alarm went off.
Right. It was so embarrassing because even though we opened all the windows, the neighbors still thought we were trying to summon a fire-breathing dragon.
Yeah, and then when we finally managed to take the cake out of the oven, it was as hard as a brick.
True, it was so rock solid that even though we tried to cut it with a chainsaw, it it felt like we were excavating a fossil.
And to make matter worse, when we tasted, it was so dry that we needed a gallon of milk just to wash it down.
I know, it was like trying to swallow a mouthful of sawdust. But you know what, Sam?
What, Alex?
Even though our cake was a disaster, it was still the most fun I've ever had in the kitchen.
Agreed, our cake may have been as thought as a battleship, but the memories we made that day are as sweet as frosting.
Exactly. So sorry. So when are we attempting our next culinary adventure?
Wow, what about next weekend? But this time we'll follow a recipe instead of winging it.
Sounds like a plan. Let's hope we don't accidentally summon any dragons this time.
This time, wait a moment. Uh, Fingers crossed.
Thank you so much, Diana and Helene, for your participation. You have pronounced quite well the conversation. Okay, before we continue, what's the problem in this role play? What's happening?
Cake
Any
baking was a disaster.
Yeah, exactly. The baking was a disaster. The cake seems like a break. Excellent.
They didn't follow the recipe.
They didn't follow the recipe, of course. Exactly. Anything else you want to say? What's the meaning of swallow? This word. That's right here. Swallow.
Tragar, masticar.
Exactly. The action you do with your mouth when you are eating. Excellent. Battleship.
No,
Ship will work. But yeah, very good. Embarrassing.
embarazoso.
Vergüenza.
Excellent. Very good. Okay, continue. Let's see what's going on right here. What's next? Reading time. Each one of you is going to read a phrase. Okay? If you want to participate, open your mic and read the first sentence and then the other ones and so on. Okay? Who wants to read the first one? Once upon a time. Let's see. Maybe. Okay. Stephanie, can you read the first part, please? No? Mario, what about you? Can you read the first part?
First, of course.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, reading time. Once upon a time in a small quirky town, there lived a man named Bob. Bob was a bit peculiar because whenever he sneezed, something unusual happened.
Can you continue, please?
One sunny morning, Bob woke up feeling a bit congested. He knew that sooner or later a sneeze was coming. He tried to go about his day as usual, but the urge to sneeze kept growing stronger.
Very good. Okay. Angel, can you continue? Angel, are you there? Yeah, Stephanie is with me. Yeah, continue.
As he was walking down the street, Bob suddenly felt that unmistakable tug in his nose. He desperately searched for a tissue, but it was nowhere to be found. Panic set in as Bob realized that at any moment a English is unpredictable sneezing.
Very good. Continue. Rafael,
Yes.
continue reading.
Okay. Okay. In one no.
Oh,
So,
we are right here. Just
yeah.
here, Rafael.
One sunny morning, Bob woke up feeling a bit cold. He knew that sooner or later a squeezy was coming. He tried to go about his day as usual, but the urge to squeeze kept growing stronger.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. Pay attention because this part was already read by Mario. Once upon a time and one sunny morning, and then Stephanie's read the other one. As he was walking down the street, Bob suddenly felt that unmistakable tickle in his nose. He desperately searched for a tissue, but it was nowhere to be found. Panic set in as Bob realized that at any moment he might unleash his unpredictable sneeze. Aquí estamos, right here, on the third paragraph. Let's continue. Who else wants to read? Fabiola, maybe? Yeah, okay, continue. Yeah, us, let's go.
Okay.
Okay.
Just as he was about to let out a gigantic achoo, a group of birds perched on a nearby tree sensed the impending sneeze. They decided it was the perfect time to prank Bob, so they synchronized their tweets to coincide with with his sneeze, creating a symphony of chirp that sounded like a choir in the middle of a performance.
Thank you very much. Okay, this is the first part of the story. What can you infer about this topic? This story. Is Bob a usual person?
He's unusual
He's unusual. Why?
because he couldn't have control of his sneeze.
Aha, it's peculiar. Very good. It's a peculiar person because he has something that normal people don't regular do, right? Very good. Let's
Yeah.
continue with the next part. What do you think is going to happen? What can you predict about the story? About Bob? What do you think is going to happen in the next part of the story? Are people going to be able to consider him, or are they going to point him, call him names? What are they going to do? What's going to be the people's reaction? Any ideas? Very strong. Okay, let's see. Coco, can you read? Or Zoraida?
Excuse me, miss.
Okay, continue please. The first part. Bob sneezed.
People,
Yes.
people pays by couldn't believe
Yeah,
their
yeah.
ear.
Wait. I'm sorry, I'm
They,
sorry. This part.
The previous one.
from that, what part of me?
Can you see my mark on the blue one? ¿Puedes ver la marca del azul?
Yes.
Yes. Can you read that part, please, for me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
But and it was an explosive one, but sting off that usually shows that following his sneezes, something magical happened. The birds synchronous twigs, turning his sneeze into a harmonic melody that issued throughout the town.
Thank you. Okay. Who can continue? Fabiola?
Yes,
Okay. Continue, please.
people passing by couldn't believe their ears. They stopped and stared their house dropping, but was still in shock, looking around and realized that somehow his sneeze had become a viral sensation. The townsfolk cheered and applauded him, making him feel like a celebrity.
Thank you. Next. Lizzie?
From that day on, Bob's sneeze became a regular attraction in town. People gathered around him, waiting for the next performance. Bob even started taking singing lessons, turning his sneeze into a delightful song.
Thank you very much. Coco? The last part, please.
So, in this peculiar town, most peculiar expenses became a source of joy and music, reminding everyone every good stuff. It's
Coco, I can hear you. Well, I can hear you very, very far away, but not very clearly. Mhm. Okay, and so in this peculiar town, Bob's peculiar sneezes became a source of joy, laughter, and music, reminding everyone that even the quirkiest of traits can bring happiness into our lives. Is that a happy or sad ending? What would you say?
Happy ending.
Happy
It's a
ending.
happy ending.
So that's like a kind of empathy for the people because everybody is different. There is diversity in each person, and we need to know how to accept that, right? And this is such proof of that. So I've considered a few questions about this story. Let's see. Some comprehension questions for you. As you can see, my story didn't have a title. I only put on the top reading time. You never read the title. So that's why my first question is, what would be the most appropriate title for this story? Perfect. The Symphony of Bob. I love that. Okay. Any other ideas? I love that title. The Symphony of Bob.
The magical Bob sneezes.
Bob Sneeze. That would be a title. Also, we can say the melodic, right? The melodic sneeze, because at the end it was like a song, like, right? It was in accordance with the chirping of the birds, right? What makes Bob unique in the story?
The peculiar sneezes.
Very good. Number 3, how does the author use humor in the story? How does the author use humor in the story? For example, when Bob sneezes, the birds start singing or chirping. So that's like a kind of humor that the author includes in the story. Exactly, when he sings with the birds. Very good. Why do you think the townspeople or the townsfolk react so positively to both sneezes and the birds' tweets? Any ideas right here in number 4? Why do you think the townspeople reacted in a positive way towards Bob?
Be- the people reacted positively because his sneeze was like a melody.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Carlene. Thank you very much, Mario, because of the effect it had on the birds. Right. Imagine you were in Bob's shoes. How would you feel if your sneezes suddenly turned into a musical performance? And how might you react differently than Bob did? How would you feel in this case if your sneezes suddenly turn into musical performance? He's a star. He's an artist. Will you feel gifted, or how will you feel? Excellent.
I should feel really happy because I am discovering something beautiful that can change into smiles.
Exactly. You can bring people happiness, right? With your sneezes that are turned into melodic tunes. And what about number 6? Look at this. Bob's unusual talent turned him into a local celebrity. Do you think fame and attention always bring happiness? Why or why not? No, okay. Well, what do you think?
Not always can bring happiness.
Mhm.
Sometimes this can bring, I don't know, it can be stressful
Yeah,
for
exactly.
people.
They can bring stress. They can promote that family gets separated because of the different
Yeah.
events they have to attend to. Mhm. And the final part, what lesson or message do you think the author is trying to convey through the story? How might it relate to real life situations where people have unique or unusual abilities? What's the
In
message
my
first? What
case,
is
I, I think the author is trying to tell us that we have to accept exactly how we are because we are great, we are beautiful, we are the biggest miracle of nature.
very
Exactly
good?
how we are.
Exactly how we are. Exactly. We cannot change anything about us because we are unique. And unique qualities or talents that we possess can lead to unexpected what? Outcomes, positive outcomes. Okay, so do not try to change yourself just to be accepted. No, if you accept yourself as you are, that's perfect. That's the way it should be. Okay, another thing is that story embraces what? The uniqueness we have as individual. And also we need to find the positive aspects of that uniqueness. I think that the author wants that the people always have a positive manner to resolve some complicated problems. Of course, definitely. Also, that's a good point, right, Angie? Because sometimes we try to adjust everything just for other people and you forget about you. What you want, what is good for you. This story is in the same with Henry or Martin. Yeah, good. Exactly. You are unique. You at the beginning we face maybe contradictions, problems, you know? But then if we continue working or trying to do or to do exactly the things that are good for you, So you are going to be at the end accepted because that's who you are. And you're going to get the appreciation from others, right? Very good. So let's move on. Continue. Okay, we're going to work on some true or false statements. Just 5 of them. Number 1, Bob sneezes were completely normal. I think it's, what do you say? True or false? False. Very good. Bob was well prepared for his sneeze when it finally happened.
False.
False. What was he looking for? ¿Qué buscaba? What was he looking for? A tissue, right? A tissue buscaba.
Yeah.
Tissue, very good. The townspeople were initially frightened by Bob's sneezes and tried to avoid him.
Yes.
Yes, very good. True. And Bob sneezes became a source of joy and entertainment for the people or for the townspeople. I think it's
True.
true. Very good. So you have other sentences that you can read and find the answers in the text. I hope you like the text or the reading comprehension. And then we have our summary of the subordinating conjunctions I mentioned at the beginning of our class. On top of it, the right part, I've considered how it is connected with the fanboy. For example, we have the fanboy and in subordinating conjunctions, we can use them to make complex sentences. If you normally use "and" in your sentences, now try to be advanced. Can you please, señorita Ana Patricia, can you turn off the mics? ¿Puede apagar los micrófonos? Please. Yes. Thank you very much. Excellent. Okay. On top of each box, I've put the preposition, the connector that is similar in use. Es similar en uso. For example, the first one says "in," but that's normal, that's typical, that's what you usually do or use. Now I want you to practice this. Moreover, furthermore, in addition, besides, what's more, likewise, as well, in addition to. And I've also considered some examples so that you know how to use it, how to practice, and how to incorporate in your speaking and writing as well. Remember that. And then we have but another fanboy that we learn. How can you change this? With however, otherwise, whereas, although, in spite of, on the one hand, in contrast to, contrary to, by contrast, in yet. You see, more complicated words, more sophisticated words that we can use while speaking. Because if you usually use because, I'm going to give you a list to change. Because of, on account of, owing to, due to the fact, in order to, and given that. If you use so or then, this is what you can use. Thus, hence, therefore, thereby, accordingly, consequently, as a result. You see, I'm giving you what you normally use and what you can start using. ¿Sí? Lo que normalmente usamos y cómo lo podemos ahora ir mejorando. Sometimes, at times, frequently, occasionally, once in a while, on and off, once in a blue moon. You see? For sometimes. For every day, you usually say every day in your conversation, you can say daily, constantly, on a daily basis, on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis, regularly, or usually. You see? I'm teaching you some conjunctions that you can incorporate in your communication. For example, si normalmente, if you normally say for example when you speak, now you can say for instance. Instead of saying for example, you can say for instance, like, such as, namely. This means that is to say, yes, if you use in your conversations a lot of, now change plenty of, a number of, a great deal of, a bunch of, you see, more sophisticated words. And finally, we have very. Such plus adjective plus noun. For example, animals are such agreeable friends. They ask no questions and they pass no criticism. I think that's also for best friends, right? I'm sorry. Like really best friends, they never criticize you. You are always the best person. So rather, quiet, pretty, and highly for very. And the last one I've considered is this, maybe. And you have, by any chance, maybe. You see, more sophisticated, more polite, by any chance, might, perhaps, possibly, to be likely to, or to be unlikely to, there is a high likelihood. I stand a chance. See, and I also, I said, you have the examples to keep reading. This is my summary of the different subordinating conjunctions that English can offer you to sound more native, sound more advanced. Okay? Do you have any questions, my dear students? So that we can play a game? No? Okay. Fabiola, tell me your question. Yes, exactly. If you normally use the word that I put in the blue box, now try to change and use new words. For example, if you say sometimes, you can say now frequently, once in a while. If you say every day, now you can use daily. Yes, of course. And you can say, I regularly go to the gym. Instead of saying, for example, you say, for instance. A lot of, a great number of, or number of, plenty of. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put the link in the chat. can you go into the game? Okay, give me a minute to start the game. I'm sorry, my dear students. I have a problem with the quizzes. I don't know why I can't activate the game. Can you activate the game or not? Can you activate the game? No, yes, no, yes. Yeah, it could be that the problem because I'm trying to activate the game, but I can't. No, no, no. Yeah, the same thing happened to me. I'm trying to activate the game myself and it says that I can't do it. Okay, so since we have a problem with the game, I'm going to show you a video, right? Can you hear the sound? No, right? No sound. Okay, let's see. No sound, right? Señorita Ana Patricia, can you hear me? ¿Me escuchan?
Sí, estimado docente, pero no logramos escuchar el video.
Estoy compartiendo la pantalla completa y no me permite. Aquí. Toda la pantalla, ¿verdad?
Correcto.
Sí. Ya. Where, Stephanie? ¿Dónde hay la opción?
Al momento de compartir se le activa en la parte superior activar audio también para que usted pueda compartir normalmente y se puede escuchar, estimado docente.
I hope you like the sun, my dear students. And today I didn't show you the quizzes. I don't know what happened. I tried to activate the game, but it wasn't possible. So I will try to create the quizzes again, and I will share the link with Miss Ana Patricia so that you can practice. Yes? If you can do it, that's okay. If you cannot do it, don't worry about it. We are going to see you on Friday. Okay? Have a good night. Thank you so much for connecting today in this second session. Keep practicing. Don't forget about that. Señorita Ana Patricia? You're welcome.
Excelente, muchísimas gracias, estimado docente, por la clase impartida. Agradecer también a cada uno de ustedes, estimados participantes, por haber concluido con esta segunda sesión académica, ¿sí? Recuerden cualquier pregunta, duda, consulta, no duden en escribirme de manera interna. Mi celular es el 991-373-227 para sus preguntas, dudas o consultas. La frecuencia de nuestro curso son los días lunes, miércoles y viernes de 7 a 9 de la noche, ¿correcto? De igual modo, nos sostenemos viendo el día viernes, estimados participantes, con nuestra tercera sesión académica, que es el Present Tense Review. Con esta sesión estaríamos culminando la primera semanita. Para que usted se pueda certificar, es importante de que apruebe el examen con una calificación mayor o igual a 14 y de esa manera poder acreditar al participante que está apto o apta para su trámite respectivo de su certificado. El costo es de 30 soles para los que se encuentran en Perú y para los que se encuentran en el extranjero es de $10. La certificación sale con 90 horas académicas y absolutamente todos nuestros certificados cuentan con el código QR, ¿sí? Las clases han sido grabadas, no se preocupen. Las clases grabadas se les va a compartir a ustedes el día de mañana temprano por el grupito de WhatsApp para que ustedes puedan repasarlo. Ok. ¿Tienen alguna pregunta o consulta, estimados participantes? ¿O todo